Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the IrishHotspur, number one Spurs fan, bringing you the pre-match pop-up as Tottenham travel down to the south coast in the early kickoff as we look to maintain our unbeaten run as we travel to the Vitality to take on Bournemouth today. And I cannot wait. It doesn't matter how early it is. Your boy is already pumped. He is on the go. But look, we are joined by two special guests, the one and only Philip Brady. How are you keeping, my man?
Yeah, great, David. Looking forward to this one. This is always, a way to keep our season going. A great chance for 3 points today, and we're going to get them.
I really do hope so. I'm loving Big Ange instead. That's what they say. Paul, my man, how are you keeping? You enjoying that cherry pie?
Oh, cherry ripe, man. They're ripe for the picking. Very tasty. I'm just getting used to eating the flesh of our enemies. So, yeah, I'm pumped, man. Let's go. Let's go do them.
Oh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Exciting times ahead. Plenty of talking points. I just want to welcome some people into the stream first. So we have Gabrielle says, come on, you Spurs. Big up, Hennessy, my man. Hope you had an absolute blast the other day for your birthday. He says, looking forward to this one. Come on, you Spurs. Big up Donovan Sarr, looking mighty confident in training. People, you need to go and watch Sarr's finishing training. It was absolutely unbelievable. Big up Johnny, who sent it to me this morning to have a look at. Absolute legend. Wembley 1 says, good morning, all. Hated lunchtime kickoffs, but I think Ange is going to have the boys fired up to go full on right from the off. Come on, you Spurs. Do you know what? Look, Tottenham traditionally don't really do well on early kickoffs, and any early kickoffs you tend to watch sort of end up flattering to deceive, to be honest with you. A lot of clubs find it hard to get up for them. However, Ange Postecoglou in a lot of Celtic games were early kickoffs, and sometimes even earlier than 12:30. So he definitely has his ways to be able to get his team up for the kickoff, Wembley. Look, for me, it's just about getting through the first half unscathed, and then we absolutely dominate them from there, my man. DDMKTHFC says this is going to be a harder game than most people think. Yeah, it could turn out like that, my man. It could. Ribsy85, big up, Ribsy. Hopefully you're keeping well, sir. From all the way down under, he says, I can't find Bournemouth on a map. If you held me at gunpoint, come on, you Spurs. It's on the south coast, my man. So it is. It's down near Brighton and all that. Steve D says, good morning. Big up, Steve D. Hopefully you're keeping well. Big up, Jazz Fusion. More than all, lineup could be an interesting one today. Yeah, I think, look, there's probably two calls to make, isn't there? One at right back and whoever's, whether Maddison starts or whether Lo Celso starts, which we'll get into, my man. Wade Bonner says, good morning, you beautiful Spurs fans. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Wayno. Great to have you in nice and early. Hopefully you've got the coffee on the go and some toast as well. Big yourself up. We have Jim as well. Big up, Jim. Morning, David's game day. Been up since 5 a.m. I watched the Man United game for the 5th time just to warm me up. Come on, you Spurs. Absolutely love that, Jim. You could have just turned on a radiator or something like that. But look, big yourself up, Jim. Got Paddy Harnett says, morning, folks. I hope all are well. Big up, Paddy. Hopefully you enjoyed your holidays, sir. We also have Martin Knightsbridge. Game day or so. Big up, my man. Tequila 316. Guess Jacko will be asleep, dreaming of jogging and clapping. Yeah, he's asleep in his Richarlison jersey right now, my man. It's like 5 a.m. where he is. Big up, Tequila. Faz Rafar says, big up, my favorite channel to win today will show we mean business under Ange. Levy can redeem himself if he buys a decent striker and centre back in this window. Come on, you Spurs. Will it happen, though, Faz? That's the big thing, brother. And are you travelling? I know you got a season ticket, so I presume you probably qualify for the away tickets as well through points, my man. So let me know, are you travelling down? There are some train. There's no trains for part of the journey, which is a bit annoying. Sean Johnson says, when are we going to sign a striker? God knows, lad. God knows. We got a few more comments and then we will crack on. James Paratrooper, big up James Paratrooper. He says, today is the day the forward score. Sonny will score 2 bangers. Richie will score a counter-attack. Pass from Kulu. Kulu will score a 20-yard screamer. I think one of the forward lines will get off the mark today, my man. Big up, James. Bush Ranger says, come on, you Spurs. Richie, break the duck this game. Sounds like you're out from near Paul, my man. Big up the Bush Ranger. We also have Rajendra Bandari says, let's get them ripped off. Big up, my man. Washkal, great to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well, Alison. Yes, lads, love the excitement is back. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Alison. Great to see you. Danny Darko's in the house. Big up, Danny Darko. Who else are we missing here? Shawnee Hurl. Big up, Shawnee Hurl. Good to see you, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. He says top of the table by 2 p.m. Big up, LCR as well. Great to see you. 21, Nathan Matters posted match day on his Insta story. Hopefully that means he's playing, my man. Nick Browner twice are going to give Big Ange an early birthday celebration. Big up, my man. Love to hear that. Dick Turpin says this is a trophy. Take a look. Sting and Nell says, hi guys, 5-1 today. Oh, geez, I really hope so, my man. That would be absolutely brilliant. And Eddie 22 says, big up, lads. Good afternoon from Dubai. 2-1 win today. Sonny and Richie. And then who else we've got here? We've got Alan H. Says we have a strike. And then we also have Badger says, come on, you Spurs. And then Leighton Evelyn, happy clappers, calm down. Big up, Leighton. Hopefully you're keeping well and good morning, my man. Now, let's go into some quick match details. Of course, the game is at the Vitality Stadium today. That's where we travel down. Hopefully we get the 3 points. Kickoff is the early one, 12:30. Hopefully, which is nice, you know. We can all go and enjoy our Saturday as long as we win. The referee is Tim Robinson, and in the VAR room, it is John Brooks. Hopefully, no relation to that Brooks.
Hopefully, they're not mates.
Huh?
Hopefully, they're not mates.
Interesting. Who is it? Mike Dean done an interview with Simon Jordan, and he said that remember the hair pull on Cucurella by Romero. He said he should have sent him off and that, and it was a free out, but he didn't. He done it to protect his mate in the middle of the referee because he was being given a hard time during that game, apparently. So, you know, hopefully we just get the right decisions, not protecting people, this, that, and the other. It's an absolute joke. Although it went our way, it's an absolute joke. And then if you guys want to watch the game on TV in the UK and Ireland, it is on TNT Sport, formerly BT Sport. In the USA, it is on NBC Sports. And in Australia, it is on Optus Sports. So there you have it. That's where you can follow the games today. Also to watch along over here. And then on the injury front, Gil Messi is out with his groin. Ben Teckers is out with the knee. And Ryan Sessegnon is out with his hamstring. No surprise there. And then for Bournemouth, Alex Scott is out with his knee. Marcus Tavernier is unspecified. Then you've got Otara, who actually scored the winner in that game that Philip was talking about at our place where we lost 3-2. He scored the last-minute winner. And then Ryan Fredericks is out with his calf. So that is everything everybody needs to know. Now, let's crack into it. Let's start talking football. Philip, my man, Tottenham head to the South Coast today for the early kickoff. And we do not do well in early kickoffs usually. Why are early kickoffs so difficult for players to get going?
I think the body clocks are probably more accustomed to the later start. And although I'd say they're on a very strict regime time-wise, I'm sure they're all in bed, tucked up in bed by 9 o'clock last night to get them, tuned in for this. But as you said earlier, Dave, Ange is very used to playing 12 o'clock kickoffs with Celtic. Yeah, and he'll have passed on the secrets and the tips to get that right, because mostly those games are against Rangers. And if you can't get up for a game against Rangers, you can't get up at all. So I think he'll have them well tutored for. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised now to see us. I know our first halves have been kind of slow, both games, but I think it's going to change today. I think we're going to see a different Tottenham today. I think we're going to be at them from the off and put them under pressure. And this lot cost Europe last season with that 3-2 defeat near the end of the season. So we owe them one. And I've been watching them against Liverpool last week. They were tasty enough going forward. I mean, the ball in the Liverpool net twice in the first 5 minutes. One was disallowed, one wasn't. But after that, they got battered. Defensively, I think we can get at them. And hopefully we do.
Yeah. Look, I think it was your man Semenyo or something, wasn't it? He scored a nice early goal. He caused Allison and Van Dijk and that an awful lot of problems very early on. And that's where I actually think someone like Iraola is going to target us today, Philip. I think when he looks at Tottenham Hotspur, and we'll get into this a bit later on, but you know, we're a second half team when we have been for quite some time, even under Ange Postecoglou, even though the first half has been better. We haven't really, over the last 2 games, gone out and dominated that game to the second half. So if I'm Iraola today, I'd be targeting an early start. I'll be targeting getting the ball out long and getting his players to sort of run around and try and get on the end of it and make something happen. I'll definitely be targeting an early start. So I definitely think that's something that Ange Postecoglou should be weary of today. And I've no doubt he is. He's a very, very shrewd manager. Paul, my man, surely Tottenham need to be picking up all 3 points today, though, despite this being a tricky fixture, if we hold any ambition of a top 6 finish or a return to European football.
Well, we're going for the Premier League title here, David. So, yeah, 3 points be handy. I'm not really worried about the early start because I think Ange will have them sorted out. You know, maybe last year we weren't, because the players didn't have any tomato ketchup or, big fat coffee or something like that they were feeling a little bit lethargic. And really, would you want to get out of bed and play for Antonio Conte? But they're all going to be jumping out of bed at the crack of dawn for Ange Postecoglou. It's going to be 3 points, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, like you alluded to, Philip, right? It's sort of games like this that have sort of cost us last year. So these are the games we have to be winning if we really want to, if we have any ambitions of European football, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, one thing you can't do today is sit back and allow Bournemouth to come at us. We've got to get on the front foot straight away. And we have been trying to do that. It's just that, as you say, it doesn't seem to happen until the second half. And that's a very, very strange thing. It's been happening for about a year and a half or 2 years now. So unless that's something Ange can get rid of, it's a mindset thing, I think. Get out of the players' minds that he should be telling them, we're better than Bournemouth. We are a better team than Bournemouth. Let's get at them. I think we'd all be very, very happy if that's what he can do with the team. And I think he will. It might take him a little bit longer, but he will do it eventually,
Yeah. Yeah, look, I hope so. I hope so, my man. Paul, lad. We're Tottenham and Big Ange are still unbeaten in our first 2 games. Can we make it 3 today, given we struggled against Bournemouth in both games last year?
Oh, it's good. It's a different Tottenham. Totally different Tottenham. And what I think we're going to see today is, like, this difference between first half and second half playing for Tottenham is different to last year, because last year we were all over the place. Whereas this year, players are learning a new way of playing. And, even in Man United, in the first 20 minutes when we were, not quite on it, a bit nervous, at least we were trying. So I'd expect to see that start to shrink down. Maybe not this game, we'll be going from the whistle, but in a few matches' time from the whistle, we'll be like that the whole game. So, yeah, I'm buzzing, man, buzzing.
How long do you think we could keep it going for? If anyone hasn't checked out Paul's prediction video yesterday, but he likes making predictions, so how long can we keep that unbeaten run going for?
Well, why does it have to stop? I mean, Ange Postecoglou hasn't been beaten at home for 49 games across Yokohama, Celtic and Tottenham. Record. So, I mean, it's amazing. So it is away, but Celtic's away record was good. I'm sure. I think we're going to be sniffing the higher echelons of the Premier League table tonight.
It's a very tricky week for us, though. It's a very tricky week. This. And we've got Bournemouth away today, Fulham away on Tuesday in the Carabao, and then Burnley away next weekend. So the fixture computer wasn't that kind to us. I mean, Burnley away is a tricky match. In fact, Burnley away would be trickier than today, in my opinion. So if we can come out unbeaten from all those 3 matches, I think the only way is up.
Oh, we're in great stead.
Especially heading into that North London derby in a couple of weeks' time, right? And we done the double on us last week. So, look, I actually think it's very important. If we can win today, win Tuesday, beat Burnley, beat Sheffield United, it puts us in the top of the table class very early on in the season against Arsenal heading out to the Emirates. And for me, it'd be nice to build that momentum, keep that unbeaten run. I think winning obviously breeds confidence, and once you're confident, you feel like you can take on anybody. I do want to talk a little bit about the away form. Just give me 1 second, guys. Big up Ricardo, new YouTube member. My man, really appreciate the support, brother, and hopefully you enjoy all that members-only content that is out there. Me and Jack put up our pre-match thoughts. There's the Fancy Football League. There's quizzes coming at the end of the month. Actually, at the end of this month, it'll actually be at the start of September because we got deadline day at the end of this month, but there's plenty to keep you occupied. And welcome to the community, Ricardo. Big yourself up, my man. And everyone, there's already 200 in-house. Absolutely love it. Spurs fans are pumped. It's great to see everyone back pumped for these games of football. It's the way it should be. But please smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and feel free to throw in a super chat or two if you support the grind, or even if you just want to get a question up or talking point up or anything like that. You know, we usually always have great discussions off the back of them, and it's a great way to help the channel. And big up Holly Hotspurs in here as well. Great to see you in the building. Hopefully you're keeping well. But look, I want to talk a little bit about the away form, lads, because I know this is sort of coming over from last season, right? But Tottenham have only won one of our last 11 away games across all competitions, and we've conceded 15 goals in our last 5 Prem away games, with 11 of those coming in the first half. How does Ange Postecoglou change that mentality when playing away from home? Or will it naturally change with the new change in leadership and stuff like that in the squad? And I get this, you know, I get some of that carries on over from Conte, but against Brentford, you know, first half, we sort of found it tough away from home. And it's sort of like, how do we change that? Because it's been a huge momentum killer for this club. It's knocked us out of all the cup competitions. It kills us in the league. It's a massive reason why we haven't got Europe, but also kills us in around London. Some of our London records are absolutely shocking. So, look, Paul, Philip, I don't know who wants to go first in this, but how do we change it? What does Big Ange do?
Well, I think there's some good things to take out of the Brentford game, because we did finish that game really strongly, I think. And you know, it's a thing in the Premier League that a lot of teams in the league have good home records, and it's the soft ones, the ones with weak mentality. They're the ones that have a terrible away record. It's not just us. Man United are on a bad old go as well. They seem to fold anytime someone blows on them as well. So Ange would be aware of that, and I think, as you know, he'll be, you know, the way we've been playing. When the players do what Ange tells them to do or guides them into whatever patterns of play, it works. So he'll be sticking that into their heads. He'll have shown them videos of the Man United game, the bits that went right, the bits of the Brentford game, just to reinforce that, you know, when you're brave and you take risks, that you can get results. I mean, when you take risks, you know, the downside is you might cock it up. But if you're not taking risks and like pushing past your own ability, you're never ever going to improve. So I think Ange is going to be full of that today, and you know, he knows the importance of keeping a good record away from home. It's not just turning up in front of your home crowd when it's easy.
For sure. Philip, anything you want to add to that, my man?
Yeah, I think a lot of last season, a lot of the players I think were absolutely struggling to play the system that Conte was enforcing on them. I mean, Tottenham are not a defensive-minded team. Never have been in my life up to recently. We play on the front foot. We play attacking football. These guys were told to do something that was alien to them. And the fact that we had a crap back four last season for most of the time didn't actually help, especially away from home. Like, look at the Newcastle game. Have you ever seen a club fold as quickly as in that match? Yeah. So I think what Ange is doing, it'll take him time to get everything through. Like, as he said himself, there'll be good days and bad days. I hope today's not one of the bad ones. He will get his message across to that team. And each game that goes on, we get better and better. Like, even against Brentford, we struggled a little bit in the first half. In the second half, we dominated. Man United, the same. So today, as he gets his message across, the defensive line is going to improve. Another centre-back coming in would be a big help. I think Romero and Van de Ven are a good pairing, but if one of them gets injured, we're struggling. So we need someone else to come in there. But I think it's our defensive woes are not going to be anywhere near as severe this season as they were last season, and they can't be. They can't be because if they are, we're going nowhere.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned leadership there, David, and something that I think Ange has done that is fantastic is he's just ripped up this old players committee, and so if you're looking for leadership on the pitch, well, you know, the old leadership, look where it got us last year. Whereas now Eric Dyer's hopefully on the way out. We've got a new captain in Son. We've got Maddison and Romero. It's just revitalised the whole thing, and I think they'll have a much more positive energy about the whole game, not fold and point.
And look, for me, I think that's the biggest thing. I think, you know, the fact that we've got that back line now, you know, it gives us something to build off, and that That always has to be your most solid going away from home. At home, sometimes you can get away with it, but going away from home, you have to be mean. You have to be watertight. You can't give up the easy goals that we've given up. So I think it'll definitely change in that regard. I think we'll be a lot harder to beat. But I also think with the change in captaincy, like you're alluding to, Paul, with Sonny, then you've got Romero, you've got Maddison, the whole change in the whole leadership altogether, I feel will also help us, because what we've got now is we've got young, hungry players who want to go out and press, who want to go out and play football, who want to go out and win games. Whereas before, and I spoke massively about that leadership group holding Tottenham back last season, you had players who were sort of making excuses for performances, trying to hang on to contracts, trying to hang on to something that just wasn't there, rather than just actually putting in the performances on the football pitch. And that ultimately ended up rubbing off on other people. You're going out there with a complete wrong mentality. A lot of the players that the likes of Dyer and all, who would have been a part of the squad last season, they've gone out to worse teams in cup competitions, and that's always been in the back of their mind, because that's all what they've always been a part of. So for me, we don't go out to these away games scared anymore. We go out looking to go into the Lions' Den excited. For me, when I was growing up, when I went on away games, it used to get me an absolute rock on. I used to love it, walking into the opposition turf, looking at the pitch, going, I'm going to rip this up today. Looking around at the few people that be around, smiling, can't wait, to get going and ruin their day, basically. And I do think this squad will definitely take that mentality for sure. So, look, today will be a huge test, whether we can move on from the away day woes or not. But also, them away fans that travel the length and breadth of the country, have traveled all over Europe to watch some of these guys over the last few years, they deserve to be able to go away from home. We've had minnow clubs singing Tottenham get battered everywhere they go to the fans, to the away fans. And it's absolutely sickening. So they deserve to stand there in these stadiums and give it tenfold back to, this season. And hopefully the squad can give us the chance to do that, because the last few years have been absolutely embarrassing away from home. Embarrassing, pathetic, actually. Really pathetic. Dark Zone G says, I love this team because of the style and the leadership. Look, it's the style of football, Philip, isn't it, my man? I mean, it's just sort of rejuvenated everybody, reinvigorated everybody.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think any of us could have taken another season of Conte ball, really. I mean, it was like, Dave, I remember being at that the AC Milan. Well, the AC Milan game, right? I mean, everybody was just so flat at the end of that after watching them capitulate. They never even raised didn't break sweat in that game, and that was so disappointing. I was totally disillusioned coming away from that match. Yeah. Now I've got my mojo back because I see what Ange's trying to do with the team. So, let's it was a brilliant appointment. And Paul, I keep saying that you called this before anybody. Postecoglou for Spurs.
Well, it's only because I've seen him for 20 years do this sort of stuff, so everyone can see it now. So everyone thinks the same as me. It's easy, that one, And look,
yeah, I know.
I mean, it is exciting. Like that second aim, sometimes when the games are on late at night, it's a struggle staying awake. But Man United game, I couldn't. I was hoping it would never end. Some of the crazy stuff we were doing in the second half with Basuma and Udogie linking up, doing back heels and flicks. It was just pure. It was pure Tottenham magic. I couldn't believe what I was watching. It was so good.
Yeah.
Do you know what, lads and Dark Sung G? I mean, that's what I love most about it. Just seeing the confidence back in the boys, flicking balls around, back healing. That's when your team's enjoying football, right? Under Antonio Conte, a lot of the guys could barely execute the basics. Now you're watching them back here, flick the ball around, tripping it over people's heads and running onto it. That's when you've got a team who just enjoy the ball, and it's absolutely brilliant to see. And to do that against Man United, I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. And Dark Sun G, it speaks to the style of football, speaks to the leadership. Let's keep the momentum. Let's pick up another couple of wins, and let's see where it can take us, my man. Big yourself up, Dark Sun G. Let me know what time is it over there actually for you? Is it late? Is it early? Let me know, my man. But big up, Dark Sun G. Great to see you in the building, sir. Leighton Evelyn, he wants to know, does anyone think we can win the league? So if anyone in the chat thinks we can win the league, put it in there. Anyone on the panel think we're winning the league this year?
Look, I'm not. I'll say it's possible. Look, I'm going to say definitely next year, definitely 100%. We're winning the league, no doubt, man. This year we might do it. It might happen if we, because this is the team so far seems to be getting this quicker than I saw at Celtic and Yokohama. So I mean, the sky's the limit, man. You know, I'm happy clapping. The treble is on. Let's go for it, boys.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. We've a couple more chats to get to. So let's give a good conversation on these, and then we've got more talking points. Phil Coy's big up member for 12 months. Absolutely love that 1 year anniversary today. Big up, Phil, my man. I'll have a coffee to enjoy it later. You can raise a bottle, my man. He says, big up, Dave, the Godfather, and Paul. Buzzing for the game today. Let's go. Basuma and Maddison masterclass incoming. Oh, Ange Postecoglou, come on, you Spurs. First of all, the scenes after that United game, I am jealous. Jealous. You know, me and Philip have gone to a couple of games over the last few years and left very, very dejected. And then you see all that going on. It's absolutely brilliant to see. Look, Basuma starts today easy. I just hope that he got man-marked last week in the first half against Man United. Whoever was closest to him ended up picking him up to stop him from getting on the ball. Now, in the second half, we managed to get Basuma free and we managed to get him on the ball. But in the first half, our biggest problems in the first 20 minutes is because we couldn't get Basuma on that ball. So hopefully we have an answer for that today, because I do think that will be something that will be set to continue, where teams will look to mark Basuma and look to go long balls in down the right-hand side. As for Maddison, look, we'll talk about in a little bit, my man, but it's sort of like, do you risk him today? Do you not? Now, Ange Postecoglou alluded that it was Maddison that made himself available for today, so that makes me think that he wants to play. But, you know, do you just go with Lo Celso today and hold Maddison back for Fulham? You know, or it's too early to be risking it. Look, Ange Postecoglou will know. He said, look, he trained yesterday, you know, and he'll just see how it goes. So let's wait and see, Phil, on this one, my man. But look, you could even start Lo Celso, bring Matters on in the second half. But look, it's just great. It's great to be winning. It's just great to be winning. I mean, this is all I've ever wanted, just to sit here, glow, be happy with Tottenham Hotspur, and have a laugh with my boys. That's all I want to ever do. Big up, Phil, my man. Great to see you in the building. We have Dark Sung G, and he says, I loved Ange's press conference, don't you guys? I mean, look, we'll all have a say on this one, because for me, I love the press conferences. Even the one there, was it last week or the week before, when they're like, oh, you know, Spurs fans are singing your name. What do you make of that? And he's just like, look, it's great and everything else, but I haven't earned it yet. I mean, I'm absolutely all over it. I love it. He knows that he's got a lot of work to do and that he wants to earn it. He wants to deliver something before we start giving him that adulation. I love it, Dark Sun G. Even the one about the penalties on the embargoed section last night, where he's asked about penalty takers. And he's like, yeah, Matters, Richarlison, and he's like, Basuma takes 500 and misses 495 of them. I mean, it's just the charismatic, the charisma of the guy. It's not boring. You're not looking at, you're not reading through all the words, listening through all the words, trying to decipher it like it's Morse code. You know, it's just plain easy with a bit of humor. Even the one at the start of the season where they were talking about the first thing they asked him about Harry Kane, and he was like, oh yeah, me and all the staff had bets to see how long it'd take. I mean, he's an absolute gem of a guy. I mean, Philip, the press conferences, right? They're entertaining.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, they could sell tickets to them because they are so entertaining. I mean, Conte's ones, you nearly want to give away the tickets because you really want to be a major in English literature to understand what he was talking about, you know. But Conte is just a breath of fresh air. I mean, that guy's got a career for himself if he ever leaves football. He'd go on the stage and do stand-up. He's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, he is. He is. Paul, what do you make of these press conferences, my man?
Oh, I'm loving it, man. Like, this press conference came out here about 11 p.m., which is usually past my bedtime, but I stayed awake just to watch it. And I would never do that with Conte. And then as soon as I wake up in the morning, rub the sleep out of my eyes, there's the extra bit they do for the Fleet Street meathead hacks who don't give Tottenham credit for anything. And it's brilliant. And the bit I loved about that bit, my favourite bit was when he was talking about meeting Ozzy Ardiles. He talked about Ozzy and Ricky. And I love it that because he's still getting a bit of this, some of the journalists are still focusing on him being Australian and all that old crap. And I think Ange is handling that beautifully. He's putting them in their place with a wink, not being aggressive and stroppy. But he made a good point that it comes down to opportunity, and he said that there's probably managers in England, English managers, that could be progressing up the food chain a bit. But it depends what doors are open. So I'm just loving it, and I love the way he just sits there like that. He sits there like that. You can tell this is a guy that's been doing this for years, and it's not his first rodeo. Just the confidence he has, that's what's flowing to the players all around the club. And also, he couldn't quite hear the question that he was asked, but I'm assuming it was something to do with the ownership. And he said, ownership's different everywhere, but if I have to do something, I usually get it done. And that's beautiful. It's music to my ears.
Yeah, that is. Dark Sun G said to say we're all enjoying the press conferences, my man. And Mashkal says he uses the word mate to good effect. That he does. Dark Sun G says
Australians use mate in a derogatory term quite a lot. It's like dickhead.
Dark Sun G says 8:30 p.m. kickoff. No Dyer plus Reese. Leadership equals 4 points. Yeah, look. That's another massive part of it, Dark Sun G. No Dyer in there blaming everyone else for these mistakes. Ironically, he comes out there a couple of weeks ago and says, he thinks he's in control of his performances. I mean, okay, well then, why do you make excuses every time you play bad if you're in control of them then? See what I mean? It's just the excuse culture. I'm just fed up with it. Gone out the leadership group. How can you have a leader who makes excuses? Hugo Lloris is another one. Quit on the team. Can't have him around anymore. And it's imperative the club get these two guys out the door as quick as possible. Because what you don't want is these guys hanging around trying to undermine Ange at every opportunity, because it will happen. They'll look to pounce. They will. 8:30. Nice one for you, Dark Sun G. Big yourself up, brother. And then we also have Jim, just a guy who loves Spurs. Richie has 3 games to prove himself. I pray he does. And we'll definitely get on and talk a little bit about Richie as well, my man. Look, Jack's keeping the faith. He went running through Central Park there last week with the Richarlison jersey on. Let everyone know he's keeping the faith. But look, it comes down to confidence now. He's only had 2 shots in the last 2 games, and both of them were at Brentford. Now, look, he's got to do better. Anytime the ball's playing into him, it bounces off him like he's a concrete wall. Can't get it under control. The first touch is absolutely atrocious. But I'll also say that we're not creating enough for him either. So on both aspects, we need to be better. But games like this, where I feel like we're going to end up forcing Bournemouth to sit deep, defend their box for a majority of the game, these are games where Richarlison absolutely thrives off. Get the balls in the box, let him go and head it. So let's hope, Jim, because we need his goals. His goals will make games easier, and it'll make us better, my man. So big up, Jim. Great to see you in the building, sir. What were we after talking about before this, boys?
Well, just on Richie, I had a bit of a power nap this afternoon, and it's the first time I've ever had a dream about playing for Spurs. But I was playing for Spurs, and I scored a goal. And if I'm going to do it in my dream, then Richie's going to do it. So my prediction for Richie scoring tonight, he's going to get the ball just on the edge of the 6-yard box, just to the left-hand side a little bit, and he's just going to side foot it in with his left foot into the back of the net. If you believe that, I mean, I don't, it's all bollocks, but might be something to it.
You're going to have 10 people running down to Paddy Power now, Paul. So, they're flying down there quicker than Usain Bolt. But look, guys, in all seriousness, right, in the last 2 games, there has been massive differences between the first half performances and the second half performances. It was the same underneath Antonio Conte as well, and we look so much better in the second half of games and have done for quite some time. Why is that, and how do we change it? We have to learn to put in 90-minute performances, lads.
It's obviously something to do with it. Whatever he said at half time, whether he can tweak the system. I noticed that the Bedenak, the coach,
he
sits up in the stand.
Knocking at the door.
Yeah, he sits up in the stand, high up in the stand during the game. He doesn't sit on the bench. He's relaying information back down to them about formation and systems and whatever. So maybe it's a thing, if that information can be got across to the players in the first half, we mightn't have to wait till half time to get a decent second half, if you know where I'm coming from. Like but you think it's something that's been there for so long. I mean, I don't know whether it started under Conte. It might have even started under Mourinho that we were a second half team, and you can't get away with just playing for 45 minutes in every match, like we did against United last week. Although the second half against United was probably the best we played in I don't know how long. I've never seen us play as well as that. But I think it's a case of getting maybe
on the Mourinho thing quickly, Philip. We were a first half team under Mourinho. Second half, we were giving away a lot of what we done in the first half.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I'm trying to forget these bad performances, you know. But I was just saying that with your man sitting up on the stand there in communication with the bench, they should be able to get information out to the player. Get Jedinak, yeah. They should be able to get information out to the players to tweak it during the match. You know, when there's a break in play, get someone over and say, right, you tell Porro to go to play slightly more inverted or go further out wing. So I think that will come in time. But it's a new one now to have one of the coaching staff sitting up so high in the stand, giving the information. I know they do it in rugby, but this is a new one. Yeah. Ange's bringing the rugby tactics into play here.
Paul, is that something that Ange Postecoglou has done throughout his career?
I'm not sure, but I like the sound of it. So you got him standing up here in the stand, then he runs down at half time, pass it forward. That's what he's doing, man. But just the first and the second half thing, I think it's different this year. So last year it was a case of Conte was telling them to sit back, absorb the pressure, and then go on the counter attack. And then we'd shit ourselves and start playing when we started conceding goals. And then in the second half we'd be a bit better. Or in the first half we'd get a goal and then just sit back and then just be crap for the rest of the game. Whereas this is different. This is Ange getting into the players' head to be on the front foot from the first whistle, from the get-go. And they're just not used to doing that. But like I said, in Brentford, it was kind of the first half, it was more cagey. Man United, it was about the first 30 minutes. They were trying it and it wasn't quite working. But it was towards the end of the first half, man, we started looking really good. So I'm expecting to see that time dropping down. Maybe not quite yet because he's still going to be swapping in and out players. Yeah. But I think it's a different phenomena. I think that's going to be a thing of the past once we get the motor running, man.
I sure do hope so, because look, against United we were lucky not to be 2-3-0 down with some of the chances that they squandered. With Brentford, we went 1-0 down, clawed it back, then went 2-1 down, and I know we clawed it back before half time, but I don't think it's down to the style of play personally. A lot of people said it's because Conte instructs them to sit back and lets them off the leash in the second half. But we're now playing football and we're still struggling sort of in the first half of games. And it's more out of possession where we struggle. And it's just about getting these players switched on, ready to go. I feel like, they sort of... They're a very reactionary team that we wait for something to happen, then we react to it. For me, we need to learn the way we play and approach the second halves. We need to bring that to the first half performances. We do that, we're going to be a very, very difficult team to play against this year. Not many teams will fancy it. So that is something that I think, it needs to be looked at and it needs to be improved. And hopefully, you're right, Paul, that, over the games that it sort of dwindles down that time as time goes by. So let's wait and see. Shamu says debut for the away kit, better get off to a winning start. That crest on the away kit is something else as well. I mean, guys, just quickly, I actually really like that away kit. I think it's very, very sexy. It's throwback, right? It's got the collar on it and everything. I'm all over it. What's your thoughts on the away kit?
Oh, I love it. It's much better than the swimsuit we were wearing and the Jackson Pollock paint in the year before. It's just proper navy blue away Spurs kit. Perfect.
Philip? Has anybody seen the Arsenal away kit?
No.
The fluorescent yellow with the snakes down the front of it. I mean,
it's terrible.
Okay, not that I watch Arsenal, but you want
a
a pair of sunglasses on. You want a pair of sunglasses on to watch it.
You won't let it go, eh?
Philip,
our Spurs.
Rice.
Oh, the snakes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, our away kit's lovely. It really is nice, But our kit has a bit of taste about it. Arsenal's hasn't.
Yeah. That snake on the Arsenal away jersey represents Declan Rice changing the allegiance in country, but also going from West Ham to Arsenal. I mean, that's what that snake symbolizes. So I'd argue they probably got it on the kit at the right time. But don't worry, we're going to be the ones hissing at their stadium. So be prepared for it, you gooners. But look, let's keep this moving. The start of the season has been overwhelmingly positive for Ange Postecoglou and Tottenham Hotspur. Spurs have been inferior in the XG, though, in the XG department in both matches. What I mean by inferior is that the other Brentford United, they've been better than us in terms of XG. While the vibes are great, are we getting away with something or getting lucky? Because some people would make that argument.
The press make that argument, and I don't give a Billy bollocks about XG anyway. It's goals, not expected goals. Goals are the things that count. And you know what? I want to see if we put in a good performance today. I don't want to, because the headlines last week were, "Why were Man United so bad?" We made them play bad. We broke that team. We broke their hearts last week. I'm sure if we do well against Bournemouth, though, the press, Talk Sport, Sky Sports, Daily Mail, they'll all be saying, but it's only Bournemouth. And Ange loves this sort of thing, this backs against the wall siege mentality. And it's like, when Nottingham Forest won the first division, was it 70, 77, 78? It was a constant question because they were just up from the second division. When's the bubble going to burst? And the bubble doesn't have to burst. And it doesn't have to burst for Tottenham. That's the way it's going to be.
Yeah, look, to me, XG never won a match yet. I mean, when I see XG on the league table, then I'll be flabbergasted. But the thing about the coverage, I watched Match of the Day on BBC last week, and the whole theme of the thing was the commentator says Spurs are on top against a poor Manchester United.
Yeah,
it was all about Man United being poor. It wasn't about us being good. It was United being poor. And then Danny Murphy at the end of it reluctantly said, Spurs were pretty good today. But that was the only positive thing that was said about Tottenham during the whole time. It was all Man United. I'm sick of it. Sick of it.
Yeah. Look, this is the thing. I've said it for quite some time. Everyone hates Tottenham. No one wants to see us win. No one gives us credit. Everybody hates us. But I thrive off the back of it. And I urge others to do the same. I urge it. I mean, ironically, Gary Neville ripping apart Ange Postecoglou's use of the inverted fullback. I mean, are these not the same guys that drive long ball managers out of the game because they want everyone to play the Pep way, right? The minute people start doing it, or the minute Tottenham start doing it, all of a sudden it's overused and it's outdated. I mean, it's absolutely disgraceful. Jamie Carragher last year came out and said, no, you have to sack Conte. Okay, but when we hired him, you said it's going to take longer than 18 months for him to sort out the mess. But here you are 14, 16 months later calling for him to be sacked. So it's sort of like, look, everyone hates Tottenham. It is what it is. But, hopefully Ange Postecoglou can steamroll the Premier League and just shut them up. This is now the time where we can literally say, let the football do the talking. And I, for one, cannot wait. Remember the save that Vicario made against Casemiro last week? Gary Neville more or less accused him of showboating, that it was an easy save to make.
Oh, no.
God. Yeah, he did.
Gary Neville. Gary Neville's bloody problem was because he said, fullbacks shouldn't be doing that because they're not good enough to do it on the turn. No, you weren't good enough to do it, Gary Neville, because you were so bloody average in that Man United side. But we've got players that can do it. We've got two of them at least.
I was saying that the other day. I was like, who's he talking about? When this guy used to just give the ball to Beckham to do everything else, What's he talking about? Philip, I have no doubt that grinded your gears, right?
Oh, it does. I mean, you know me and Sky Sports anyway, but all I want is fairness. I want an equal standard of commentating, give fair to both teams, not say we only won that game because Man United were rubbish. That was not the case. We made them rubbish. We actually played them off the pitch in the second half. I mean, some of that football, as Paul said, I mean, it was a dream, like watching those interchanges, back heels and little flicks and everything. We haven't seen that for years, and it's so good to see it back.
Yeah. And look, this is a good comment from Jazz Fusion. I think he's more or less alluding to this, lads, where he says, this manager over 2 games, it's looked to me like that we're physically wearing opponents down. Yeah. They run out of gas, and that led to total control of possession. much more even in that regard. I mean, do you agree with Jazz's comment? Because I actually sort of agree with it to a certain extent. I think he's dead right.
Yeah, I think our pressing. Even against Brentford and United in the second half. United player got the ball. He was swarmed around. There was 2 or 3 Spurs players on them. I'll tell you one thing, Paul. You're probably more aware of Ange's training regime. He sounds to me like he's a bit more in the Pochettino mold. Double training sessions, and that team is really, really fit. Probably fitter than we've been since Pochettino's day. Whereas I think against Conte and Mourinho didn't give a toss about the training, and we were so unfit under him. But this looks like this team are really, really meant for the 90 plus. In fact, it's 100 plus minutes now in the match every time, and not many teams have been able to live with that.
Yeah, what little I know about his training is it's a lot of it's based around 60 to 70 minutes of real high intensity, because he can use subs as well. So you saw when Pape Matar Sarr, the Matasarosaurus, came off last week in 70th minute. He was absolutely buggered, but you can't blame him, because I don't know how many kilometers he ran during that game, but that's what Ange is telling the players to do, is just basically run until you drop. And if you start dropping, it's all right, I'll swap you out. But that's what they're geared around. And I think you're dead right. We, against Man United, we couldn't break out past them. They had a lot of possession, but especially towards, in the second half and towards the end, we were so bloody relentless, always up their holes, getting the balls off them within 5 seconds, that they just got knackered, and we didn't. It was fantastic to see.
You're absolutely spot on about Ange's training. I read a bit into it. It's designed at 60, 70 minutes at real high intensity, no breaks, none of this crap. And the reason why is it's designed to sort of mimic a match day sort of scenario, and then you sort of see it reflected on the pitch. So it is very, very interesting in that regard. And plus, there's no breaks. We never stop, right? That's what it's all about. So
never stop, man.
Love it. And then just two more quick things. The one about Jedinak. So basically, Jedinak actually sits up in the stands with our analysis, our data analysis people. And basically, what happens is they get all the data. He observes it, and then he sort of looks for the weakness in the opposition, but also combines the data. For instance, this player ain't running hard enough. This player ain't doing this. This player aren't doing that. He gets it across to Ange Postecoglou at half time, and then it leads to us being able to tinker 1 or 2 things. And I think it's absolutely a fresh approach. I like it. I like what they do in rugby, that they've got people up there observing the whole thing, and they have a better overview and stuff like that. So, and plus, with all the new rules now, there's no use for Jedinak down in that dugout now, because I think you can only have one person out there in the manager zone now, and then basically, they're booking people on the bench all the time just to sort of keep them quiet. They're trying to clamp down on that. So Ange Postecoglou, I'd argue, is now ahead of the curve, and he's like, well, look, there's nothing you can do down here. Get up there. Let's make a difference. So I think that's absolutely refreshing. I didn't hear of him doing that at Celtic, interestingly enough. So I wonder, is it something new that Ange Postecoglou has done? But in terms of answering the old question about the XG, look, for me, I agree with the boys, right? I don't really like this XG. You create chances, you score, or you don't score. However, it can be an indication sometimes that, yes, at times we have got away with that, and that is something that maybe we need to just sort of keep an eye on, tighten up a little, and maybe not give them chances. Look, last week, it was more off the back of Van de Ven. Porro was too far off Ganacho, and when he sits 5 yards off, when you look at Edozie, right, Edozie's right up against the winger, stops him from doing anything. Porro stands off him, and what it does, it allows the winger time on the ball to manipulate, to go on the outside and cross it, cut inside, have a shot, with no pressure whatsoever. And then what the United done is, they got the likes of Ronaldo, Rashford. United fans wish they still had Ronaldo. Rashford. And then also Bruno Fernandes. If you go back and watch the game, a lot of the time, they ran in behind Mickey Van de Ven or off Mickey Van de Ven. And that is something he's going to have to maybe work on, or just be more aware of, more clued into, that these players are looking to run off him in behind him. And I know he's got the pace, but when United create the chances as deep as we were on the edge of our own box. That pace is not effective right then and there. So that is something he's going to have to be keeping an eye on for sure. But big up, Jazz. Great comment, my man. And we have Dark Sung G, my brother, and he says, our training looks and feels positive than before. Before it felt fake. Do you know what, Dark Sung G? Just on this, I get, that a lot of people don't like Jose and Conte, and I get it. But I'm one of these, regardless of what manager you have, no matter what way they want to train, if you want it to be at your very best all the time, and you want to try and win games, you do whatever's asked of you. And, too many times over the last few years, I've heard players they're bored of being drilled down. Like under Jose Mourinho, right? They were bored of being drilled on throw-in, how to defend throw-ins, and defensive set pieces. I heard the same under Conte. They're bored of doing defensive set pieces. Okay, but it's your biggest weakness. It's our Achilles heel. We get murdered from balls into box from set pieces, and then you hear that coming out, and it's like, I struggle to blame the manager on that, because the manager identifies the weakness, wants to work on it, but no one wants to go out there and work on it with any sort of vigor, without anyone realizing and piping up, going, hang on here, guys, it's a big weakness of ours. Let's do that, and let's make our game a little bit easier. So, but what I will say is I think it's the training methods. It's the messages that are more being portrayed and how they're getting across, I think, which is completely different, right, Paul?
Yeah. And also it's nice to see in most of the training videos these days, they're actually kicking a football around, which, last year they were just swanning around in that Beverly Hills gym, rolling around on sponge sausages and rubber bands and crap like that. Whereas now they're doing a lot of high intensity passing and drills. I think there's a bit more, but I agree with you, Dave. You got no hope of doing anything. If your only bet is to do what the manager says, and then if it doesn't work, then at least what the problem is. But when you don't do what the manager says, it all gets a bit murky, isn't it? But with the likes of Dyer, Lloris, people like that on the outer, Harry Kane, part of the leadership he's gone. I'm not saying he was a big part of the problem, but that old guard is all gone now. So I'm seeing a lot. I'm feeling a lot of positive energy from it. Just on the Millie Jedinak being up in the stands. I don't know if Ange did do that at Celtic, but they might have got the idea from sport in Australia, like rugby league. There is no dugout. They're all up in the gods looking down at the game. So it's only at halftime they come down. Maybe they got it from that. I don't know, but it's a great idea to have one guy up, an eye in the sky.
Especially this year, considering the assistants are basically non-effective. Sorry, Philip, go on.
No, I was going to say, I'll say because of the fact Ange doesn't bring his doesn't bring his coaching staff with him everywhere he goes. That's why he wants new ideas from the guys coming in. So I'd say it's one of the lads that he's taken on that's probably come up with that suggestion. And it's a very good one. It's a brilliant one, in fact. And you probably find a lot more clubs will be doing that now when they see what's happened. But no, I think it's one of the new lads that's brought that in.
For sure. But big up Dark Sun G, my man. Hopefully you get what I was talking about when it comes to the training. For me, no matter what the manager asks you to do, you do. I think where the big difference comes about is how you communicate that message. I don't think Antonio Conte would have done it in a nice way. However, when you're talking to the likes of Moonhead and Lloris and people like that, I understand why he wants to shout at them. Whereas with Ange Postecoglou, now that they're gone, he can get that message across in a friendly way. But look, let's not get this mistaken. Ange Postecoglou ain't down there shaking their hands every single morning, patting them on the back, telling them how great they are. Ange Postecoglou does everything from a distance. He only steps in when he really, really needs to, when the intensity is crap or the application is crap. So let's not get that mixed up. Ange Postecoglou is he's very detached from his players in a certain way. And so he is. But big up Dark Sun G. And Philip, he also says Man United in the mud with injuries and a lost manager, lol.
Yeah, I think some of the United fans are now beginning to doubt Ten Hag. I saw a list of things that have gone wrong for him since he came there, and he was supposed to be the great white hope that was going to do everything with United. Okay, he won a trophy last season, but there's an awful lot of things gone wrong. And I'll tell you one thing, until he cures the problem he's got in Bruno Fernandes and his impatience and his childishness on the pitch, first thing I do with that is take the captain's job and give it to somebody who actually can do the job. But anyway, listen, I don't give a shit about Man United. They can go to hell as far as I'm concerned, like every other club in the Premiership.
And hopefully, that poor mini-me or that mini-me wannabe, hopefully he gets sacked. That'll be absolutely brilliant, Dark Sun G. Big yourself up, my man. We have Moondog says, morning, lads. I'm right up for this match. Moondog, let me know what bet you've got on today, brother. I know you have I know that's why you're late, because you were sneaking down to the bookies, my man. So let me know what one you've got on. I think I'm going to stick a $5 on Richie. Big up, Moondog. And Adrian Chia says, big up, lads.
Left foot, edge of the 6-yard box. Don't forget. You get more odds for that.
Love it. And Adrian Chia says, big up, lads. Ready for a blockbuster script. Come on, you Spurs. Adrian, look, it is what it is right now. Give me an easy one today. Give me a nice 3-4-0 win. One that I can sit there tonight, stroke myself off watching Match of the Day. That's really what we all want, really. Big up, Adrian Chia, my man. Big yourself up, brother. Really appreciate the support. But look, let's keep this show on the road, guys. Let's keep it moving. So look, this just maybe a little bit off the back of the last game we played, and Bournemouth snatched the points in the last seconds of this fixture at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium last time we faced them. Otara, the guy who scored that winner, is actually out today. But Philip, how do we stop that? How do we stop that from happening today? Because believe it or not, with the 12 games that we've played Bournemouth in the top flight, it averages out at about 3.3 goals per game. It's one of the highest scoring fixtures that we're involved in the Premier League. So there is a chance this could pop up again today. So how do we stop it?
Yeah, well, I mean, we stop it by, defensively, we've got to just be on our ball, because Bournemouth are a big team. They're a big side. They're very physically imposing. So we've got to make sure that we especially Van de Ven, controls, gets up in the air and beats them in the air, or tries to equal them in the air. It's hard to know what happened in the last two games against Bournemouth. They were both 3-2s. They were both won with the last kick of the match. We scored the last kick of the match down in their place. They got it at our place. So it's hardly going to be a 0-0 draw. That's for certain. I think it's up to us to impose it. Let's face it, man for man, player for player, we were a better team than Bournemouth. No offense to Bournemouth, but I haven't heard of half of their players. You know what I mean? Whereas a lot of ours are household names. I think we have to don't let them get a foothold in the game. Don't let them dominate like they did last season in the first game. In fact, even in the second game at our place, I think they were the better team most of the time. We were on the back foot again. And I think, as far as I remember, we only equalised in injury time, and they went and scored the winner later than that. I think I was correct on that. I remember I was driving to Dublin listening to that game on the radio, and I nearly crashed the bloody car when they scored the winner. It was just so annoying, So I think we just have to keep them tight. The best form of defense is attack. So let's get at them straight away. Don't let them get at us, and then we'll see where it goes. But it's going to be an entertaining match, I've no doubt.
Yeah, 100%. And look, ideally, you just don't have them with something to play for come near the end of the game. You want to sort of be out of sight. So hopefully we can do that today. Where are we next? So Bournemouth snatched the points. Both fixtures last season, Bournemouth made it very difficult for us, Paul, on the counter-attack by scoring 2 at home and 3 away from home. Why did they have such an easy time scoring against us last season? And could they cause similar problems today, or will it be different this time around?
Well, did we have Dyer and Sanchez in for those 2 games? I don't know. It was definitely Dyer and one of them.
Dyer and Sanchez played on the away trip for sure.
Yeah, well, and to be honest, I mean, we were dog shit, I think, against Bournemouth last year, demoralised, and defensively weak in that. Like if you're sitting back all the time, Sanchez is not good at that. But we've seen, to be fair to him, when he has to run back, when he has to track back because we're camped up in their half, and he has to track back, he runs back pretty fast and does a pretty nice timing on his slide. So maybe it's suiting his game more. But we're going to stop them because our first form of defence is like Phil says, is our attack. We're going to be getting the ball off their defenders and midfielders. And if it does get through somewhere, then what I want to see is I want to see Romero I want to see Romero go studs up in a Bournemouth striker's cruets, just to give him a little message that if you are going to come into the penalty box, you ain't having children for the rest of your life, and that will scare the shit out of them. And also, I just see a comment there, Michael there, Big Vic. I mean, we got Vicario now. I feel so much more relaxed and safer, but excited as well because he's a bit of a nutcase still. But we've got a much better keeper, much better defensive setup. So come at us, Bournemouth.
Love that. Come at us, Bournemouth, at your peril. But look, guys, I will start with you on this one, Philip. Deadline day, and then after this, we're going to sort of maybe get into talking about the lineup. Did we make any changes with the Fulham game coming up, etc.? But deadline day is next Friday after this match. Do you think Ange will have a good idea of who he wants in this squad and who he doesn't? He's acknowledged that some unwanted players might still be here after deadline day and has said he would be willing to be flexible in terms of working with them. Which unwanted players do you think might end up sticking around? Who do you think he's talking about? Guys, I just need to run to the Jacks, so give me 1 second.
Yeah, I think the Hugo Lloris situation is a bit a strange one. He's had a chance to go to Lazio, I think. He's not going. I think Hugo was, and this allegedly has said this, that he only wants to go to a team that he's going to be first choice goalkeeper at. Now, I think it's about time he took a reality pill, because at 37 years of age, you can't expect to go to a club and be first choice unless they're, third or fourth division team or something like that. So I think Hugo to me could be one that's going to be hanging around, but he's not going to be in the squad. And as Dave alluded to earlier, he could be a bit poisonous around the club if he's not playing. He's sitting there getting very disgruntled with what's going on, and that could be a bad thing for the club. So it's best for everybody if Hugo moves on. Great and all as he's been for us. He's past his sell-by date now. He needs to go. Eric Dyer, talk of him going to Fulham. Again, that would be a good move for him and a better move for us to get rid of him. Reguilon, he's going nowhere. He'll probably go back to Spain. And Tanganga. I don't think we're going to get rid of them all. We're going to have some of those players are still going to be here. And what's going to happen to them then? They're not going to be in the squad. They're not going to be in the 25. Are they going to train with the under-21s? That's the worry. That there's going to be bad blood in those players that are left. And it's going to be have to be carefully managed that it doesn't spread to the rest of the squad. And you don't want disgruntled players anywhere near them.
Yeah, I think the two players you mentioned there, they're my main concerns as well. I mean, apparently Hugo turned down a move to Lazio because he wasn't guaranteed first team football. Yeah. Well, you ain't getting that at Tottenham, mate. I mean, so what are you doing? And Eric Dyer, I think he's the worst of the lot. So long as those two, if they're still around, I had a suggestion the other day that we should open a new training camp at Blaenau Festiniog in North Wales and get Hugo and Eric to just run up and down a hill with a football all day, and that's their training. As far as the likes of Reguilon and Tanganga, they might still be around, but I don't get, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't get the sense that they're real shit stirrers, they're not senior players, or because Hugo and Eric are going to have their noses out of joint because they were the leadership group. Hugo was the captain, and Eric Dyer just thought he was a shoe-in for a starting place, no matter who the manager was. So the ones that we can't get rid of, so long as Hugo and Eric Dyer are just put off up to North Wales for a little bit, I'm happy with that. Keep those two away at all costs.
And what about Ndombele? What about Ndombele? What are they doing?
Do you know what? On that, guys, for me, I don't. I think it's more important to get Hugo Lloris and Dyer gone because of the effect that they have had on the changing room over the last while and the hold they've had on it, compared to Ndombele. Ndombele, I think other players just look up and be like, for fuck's sake. Whereas I think with Dyer and Lloris, they still have friends in that group. So as soon as Ange maybe drops one of them, and it could just be to give them a rest, all of a sudden Dyer and Lloris are in there, what's going on. And, these are players that Antonio Conte wanted to replace. He was told Hugo Lloris was going to be replaced. He wasn't. He came back to cost Conte his job last summer. He's asked for centre-backs. We didn't really do anything. We had to keep Dyer around. And, for me, I just want Ange to succeed and be here for a full season. And for that to happen, with him changing that leadership group, these guys ain't happen. They have to go. They just have to. They can't have them around as bad eggs, upsetting everybody at every opportunity. And I know people are going to say, oh, Dave, you're making assumptions, this, that, and the other. Yeah, you could say I'm making assumptions, or you could say that maybe I've gone and done a bit of research to find out who some of the troublemakers are. But for me, they have to go. It's that simple. You can't keep these bad eggs around, especially when they're deluded and they think they're as good as they think they are. Like, Philip alluded to it. Hugo Lloris, 36 years of age. He's surely he's at the point now where he accepts he's going to be number 2 somewhere. He ain't good enough to be number 1 anymore. You think the performance he's put in last year would have proven that? You've got Eric Dyer, who thinks he's Maradona, unfortunately. He thinks he's Harry Kane. He thinks, clubs should come in and offer 100 million for him and give him them sort of wages. And when you've got deluded players like that hanging around, just get shipping them. Just get rid of them. It's that simple. And no wonder why it's always been blame everyone else but myself when you hear them trying to explain away defeats and this, that, and the other. So for me, it's imperative that the club get these guys gone, especially these two. With Ndombele, you can keep them around, because other players I think just laugh at me like, how is this guy rinsing 200k a week?
Ndombele's like the warning sign. If you don't keep fit, this is what you'll end up looking like. But yeah, Hugo and Eric rip up their contracts, come to some sort of deal with them, get them gone.
Can you see that happening?
Sure.
Can you actually see come next Thursday at 10 o'clock, Sky Sports are announcing Spurs will cancel the contracts of A, B, C, D, whatever. Because it's better to do that than have them hanging around the dressing room.
Do you know what, though, Philip? I don't think Daniel Levy will do it to the likes of Dyer or Lloris because of how long they've been here.
Well, you could buy them out. They both have 1 year left. They both have 1 year left. You could buy them out of the contract. Let them go find their own clubs.
If Ange wants them gone, they're gone. It's down to Ange. He's calling the shots with this sort of thing. It's his squad. He's made it clear he controls who's in and out of the squad. And if he don't want them around, they ain't going to be around.
Well, I hope that's the case. I hope Daniel Levy listens to him because, with Ange saying, I will be flexible. Anyone that is left here, he'll work with, etc. It's sort of like I get he's doing that to be diplomatic, but he shouldn't have to do it if we really want him to succeed. Moondog says, my bet's Dave Kulu and Romero. Get in there. So you've gone for both of them to score. Where's Richie? Where's Big Rich, Moondog? I know you're his number 1 fan, my man. I know you are. Big up, Moondog. I'm actually going for Richie to score today. I got a feeling, I'll be honest, I was up all night, last night, yesterday. I was practicing the pigeon all day. I've got the neck routine down, absolutely perfect. And, I've got the saying as well, purr, absolutely all over it. So, I'm just waiting for him to score. Me and Jack are just waiting for it to happen so we can unleash. We're going to do the pigeon absolutely everywhere. In sync as well. We were practicing that yesterday about doing it in sync. So make sure you look out for that. But big up, Moondog.
Just on Richie there, and I see a lot of people, and I'm not saying people are wrong for saying this, but a lot of people are sort of quite eager to get a new striker in. I'll just say that, like last year, Celtic scored 114 goals. And Kyogo Furuhashi, who scored the most goals for them, scored 27. So the rest of the goals get shared out quite a lot all around the team. And so it's not all dependent on the one guy up front as much as it was. I think we're just used to relying on Harry Kane to dig us out the shit every week. Now, we haven't got that anymore. So, I'm hoping Richarlison comes good. But, if he doesn't quite get there or doesn't score as many goals as we think he should, I'm not sweating yet.
I hope not. Look, for me, Richarlison is the difference between us going for Champions League football or not. I think that's where the difference comes in for me. Anyway, Dark Zone G says this is why you need your captain as an outfielder, not a goalkeeper. I mean, Philip, this is something you, Dark Zone G, have spoke about for quite some time. Do you think do you think we are seeing the benefit of our leaders now being out the field rather than in goals?
We should you should never have a goalkeeper as captain. It's a no-no for me. It always has been for years because he's too far back to control the destiny of what's going on the pitch. Whereas you have a centre back or a midfielder, or even Son who's dropping back. And so I have to say, I'm impressed with what Son has done as a captain. I watched him after the game on United. Every one of the players. He knows what to do. He's done it for South Korea. So I think he's a better captain than Hugo will ever be. Hugo strikes me as being a guy who's not vocal enough. You know, wouldn't okay. Apart from the time he gives Son a bollocking for the not tracking back at Everton, that's the only time we ever saw that. So no, it's got to be an outfield player as goalkeeper, and I think they made a good choice there, really. And I think they've also, by making Romero vice captain, and we all thought Romero was a little bit too headstrong to get that job. It might just cool him down, the sense of responsibility he has to maybe just think a little bit before he launches in with these 2-footed tackles that he's inclined to do. Like, I was at the Shakhtar Donetsk game. It was only a friendly. Jesus, you want to see one of the tackles he put in? It was just, you were closing your eyes nearly. He was that much of a bone cruncher, But you love to see the aggression, but just tempered aggression, measured aggression. But no, no goalkeeper captain, no way.
I mean, you saw it last. You saw it. I mean, I agree 100%. You shouldn't have a goalkeeper as captain. You see the reason last year. Hugo Lloris would flap and let one in. You can't have a captain being the same player who's responsible, who's the last line of defence. Because if they let one in, how are they going to G the team up? If they cock it up, come on, lads, calm down. It doesn't work.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Look, your captain has to be your most reliable player, right? Your most dependable player. Like you said, you can't have your captain making mistakes and then bollocking other people. Because if I was on the team, the first thing I'd turn around and say is, "Look, mate, concentrate on keeping the ball out of the back of the net before you come." And second of all, I pretend I couldn't hear the messages coming from a monitor because he's so far back on the pitch. So absolutely spot on. Dark Zone G, I'm delighted to see that there's no goalkeeper in the captaincy. It's pointless. Let them just focus on their job. They're supposed to be weird people anyway. They sort of don't really mingle with the rest of the team as well. So leave them off to do their goalkeepers union and let real players get out there. Goalkeepers are failed footballers, in my opinion, just like what fullbacks used to be, right? Adrian Chin says, how much is Udogie at a window, 1 goal, 1 assist? Look, Kadoshi's been a revelation. What I like about him is defensively, he can look after himself. He doesn't need help. He doesn't need to be slowing people down and calling people over to come and help him. He just goes in and wrestles them off the ball himself. And then he takes it, and then he goes galloping up the other end of the pitch with him. I mean, there is no better sight right now than seeing Udogie in full flight, marauding forward. He's hard to knock off the ball. He's so big for his age as well. He's been brilliant since his arrival. And for me, I think he's going to play a major part in, driving us up this table this season, but also in this new era. So big up Adrian Chia. Ooh, doggy dog. And I guarantee
that's one thing though. How do you pronounce his name? I mean, all the commentators are calling him Udogie. Is it not
whatever you want to call him?
Udogie.
Whatever you want to call him.
Udogie sounds like something you bring out on the lead, It doesn't sound right.
If I was him, though, I'd ask for that Snoop Dogg on request as I walk into the changing rooms for sure. But big up Adrian Chia. Do you know what, Philip? We'll ask Jack, because Jack's a stickler for the pronunciations, and he always says it to me, Dave, this is how you say it. It's like, Jack, I've made my own pronunciation. I'll just call him what I want. But it's quality. It's quality. But big up Adrian Chia, brother. Really appreciate the support. Morning, DB. Up bright and early, my man. Come on, you Spurs. Let's go. Let's go and get another 3 points today. All you guys at home, hopefully you've got your coffee on the go. You've got your big bowl of Rice Krispies in front of you, laced with sugar, getting yourself that energy for that 12:30 kickoff. Come on. I'm absolutely pumped. But look, let's get into talking about maybe a little bit on the lineup today as well. I want to start with, of course, we have a cup match against Fulham on Tuesday. Do you think that Ange will look to make changes to the starting lineup once again today with that game in mind? Or do you think he'll make more changes for the Fulham game? My prediction is you go with more or less the same team that started against Man United if you can. Maybe you might say, I prefer Emerson to come in for Porro, which we'll get on to. But for me, you make the changes in the Fulham game. That's where I would do it personally. But look, we'll start with you on this one, Paul. Where are you at with this?
Well, he seems to be, because he said in the press conference he's just working the squad out, because he's only seen them, in battle for 2 games. So I wouldn't be surprised if he made 2 changes again. Maybe it'd be Lo Celso for Maddison. Maybe it'd be Emerson for Porro. I'm not sure, but just 2 changes at a time, just so we can see how the different combinations of players works. I mean, you're talking about the Fulham game. I can't. It's too far away, man. Let's get it. I want to get this one over first. I mean, could be a tough game against Fulham. Depends how seriously they're going to take the League Cup. They've got a bit less strike power now, of course. But I probably see more changes in the Fulham game than today. But I'd still expect to see 2 today.
Interesting. Philip, do you expect to see major changes today, or do you think it should be against the Fulham in the Fulham game? Because for me, look, I think we need to try and keep this sort of run of form going. So I'd make them today, and I think against Fulham, you'd probably get away with a couple of changes here and there. I mean, where are you at with it?
Yeah, I'd bring in Emerson for Porro today. That's the only change I'd make, unless Maddison is out through injury, and obviously Lo Celso will come in. As regarding Fulham, we've got to make a statement. We cannot go weak against Fulham. I mean, we need to get a trophy under our belt. So for Fulham, I see maybe another couple of changes. I see maybe Solomon coming in for Kulu, and possibly Porro back in the side for Royal, but nothing major. Let's face it, we've got 3 games in a week, right? Then the international break. So let's just not take the foot off the gas by making wholesale changes. Maybe Fulham will. I don't know how much they're going to regard the Carabao Cup as important, but I think we should go strong against Fulham, make a statement, and let's try and get somewhere. Be an awful deflator if we got knocked out of the Carabao Cup in the first round because we didn't play a strong enough team. So I think we've got to show intensity to go for everything we're in. We've no Europe, we've no other weekend games, midweek games coming up this season. So there's no reason to make wholesale changes.
I agree with that. Big up Phil P. Good to see you, my man. And also big up the Olatron. Great to see you in the building. Come on, Ollie. Let's get the victory today. Everyone, we're going to go for about another 20 or so minutes. Hopefully you can stick with us for that. Make sure you keep smashing that like button. If you're new, welcome. Smash that subscribe button. Make sure you follow us for the watch along. I cannot wait to get going today. And also, if you are enjoying the show, feel free to throw in a super chat or even grab one of them channel memberships. Plenty of bang for your buck. But look, let's keep this moving on. So one of Postecoglou's calls, like we sort of alluded to for me, is that right back today. It's probably one of the biggest calls he has to make, or one of the 2 he has to make. Emerson played well at Brentford. Porro played well at home versus Man United. Now, look, on that, for me, I think the big difference is who they had in front of them. We have to understand that the inverted right back is asked to get forward. He's asked to come centrally. So that means if the ball gets turned over and it goes long down that side, he's always going to be caught out. But the big difference is Emerson had Skip in front of him who gave him no cover. Porro had Sarr in front of him last week who gave him all the cover in the world. But me, personally, I would go with Emerson today. I think he's better defensively. I think Ange Postecoglou will use Emerson a lot in away games. And I also think he helps us out from defensive set pieces. But, I mean, we'll go to you with this one, Philip, first. Who has impressed you most at right back, and who would you start today?
Yeah, I think Emerson is a better defender against than Porro. Porro, the way I look at it generally, now this won't happen in every game, but I kind of play Emerson in the away matches where we might do a little bit more pressure, we might need the defensive strength, and play Porro in the home games when we should be more on the front foot. So that wouldn't work out in every match, but I think that may be the way it's going. Porro just isn't as good a defender as Emerson, but Porro's better going forward than Emerson. So, I think it's a mixture of mixing and matching them. But today, Emerson gets the nod from me.
Paul, for you, what do you think Ange's going to do, Emerson or Porro?
I think he might change him up, and he can always bring Porro on if he has to. The thing about Porro last week was, when you say like Bruno Fernandes was man marking Basuma, I think after at the beginning of the game, Porro was like standing off from his man quite a bit.
Yeah,
it was quite frustrating. But as the game went on and we were getting more up the pitch, Porro could use his speed defensively to shepherd the Man United winger out the side, and he was basically ineffective. And the other thing that Porro and Sarr did, they caused Man United so many problems that they couldn't waste just having Bruno Fernandes hanging on one player because he's out. Okay, Basuma's not in the game, but neither's Fernandes, and we're just much more playmakers around. So, but I think Philip's right. Away from home, we might well end up seeing a bit more of Emerson, and I'm fine with that. I think he's been all right.
For sure. For sure. Look, I'll be honest. I'm comfortable with either or, to be honest with you. I think either or will do a good job. I actually think the more important selection is who plays on that midfield side ahead of them. But look, let's get into the midfield, lads. James Maddison was back in full training, yes, and is available for selection today. And it's a huge boost. He has quickly established himself as a key member of the squad already. He started both games and already has 2 assists to his name. Do you start to the Maddison today, or do you hold him back as a precaution with that injury? And we'll go to you on this one first, Paul.
My faith in the Spurs medical department isn't that hot sometimes, and I'd be more inclined to rest Maddison and see how he goes against Fulham. So maybe it's Lo Celso's chance to come in. I would prefer to see Lo Celso rather than a Skip in that position. Yeah, I'd hate to see the guy come back to it, because you know what players are like. They bullshit just to get on the pitch. They hide injuries and all sorts. And that Maddison seems to be that. He seems to love his football. So I wouldn't be listening to Maddison so much, and I wouldn't be listening to the leech doctors at Tottenham. I'd be resting Maddison and playing someone else. And, it's nice that I think out of every area on the pitch, I think our midfield has got so many options and like redundancies. Our midfield is quite sweet at the moment, so I'm not too worried about it.
Philip, where are you at with it?
Yeah, kind of undecided on this one. If Maddison is fit, and I mean fit, not he decided himself he's fit. If he's proved to be fit, then he should start. But if there's any doubt at all, I would play Lo Celso. He's moaning that he's not getting game time apparently, although he's denied it. Let him on. Let's show what he can do, and then have Maddison on the bench should we need him later on. But I think it'd be shocking if Maddison did come on and suddenly got a reaction to the injury, had to go off. So I think caution here. Maybe leave him on the bench today.
I just have flashbacks from the way Tottenham used to treat Darren Anderton. We always used to play him when he was injured, and I hate seeing that with players when we flog them to death, and they're just not ready to come back.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Philip, you might remember this song. I know my man knows it very well. Who sings it again? I can't remember. How much is that doggy in the window? Didn't that win the Eurovision or something?
The Beverly Sisters or the Andrew Sisters? There's the Beverly Sisters.
Yeah, it could be them, all right. Yeah. And the Beverly Sisters, I think. Yeah. I think one of them was married to Billy Wright, who used to manage the Wolves a few years ago, I think. Yeah, come on, lads. That's even before my time now. Come on.
Pick up Agent Chia. Agent Chia, let us know if the boys is right, who sings it. I know my mother.
I'll look it up here.
Knows that song.
You got me going now.
Big up Agent Chia. If I remember correctly, did it win the Eurovision? Maybe I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure.
Come on, man, you're Irish. You should have Eurovision in your veins, man.
Lad, honestly, I think I'm a curse on the country. Since I've been born, we've been crap at absolutely everything. Phil P says, what was the atmosphere like on the TV from last week's game? Now, look, me and Jack have to listen to the games with no sound. But, Paul, I know you probably had a bit of sound on. So, what did it come through the telly?
Well, so while it was, because it's on at 2:30, I didn't want to turn it up too lot and piss off the whole neighbourhood. But I did watch it again the next day. And I tell you what, the hairs on the back of my neck and the two left on the top of my head was standing up, man. I've not heard that amount of noise from Tottenham I in the new stadium ever. It was, and this is like when Ange was at Celtic and we were going through bad times last year. The atmosphere that Celtic had for the last 2 years, week in, week out at Celtic Park or away, that was one of the reasons I really wanted Ange to come to Spurs, because we needed something like that. We needed a boost to our spirits, and I think he's delivered it, and the fans have played their part. They were magnificent last week.
Patty Page, 1953.
Oh, there you go.
So this is before your time, Philip.
It is. Well, sure it is.
Well, I'm sorry for putting a few more years on you.
Not a lot, but a bit.
I'm sorry for putting more years on you. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Big up, Leighton Edmonds. I'm up for this game today. Do you know what, Leighton? It's great to see you say that, my man. It's great to see you say that. Do you know what? Get the sandwiches ready. Get the drinks in the fridge, my man. It's going to be a cracker for sure. Look, I think if Maddison is injured, do we agree that maybe Lo Celso probably is the right man to come in and replace that creativity that we will lose with James Maddison? And for me, it'd be interesting to see where Lo Celso's at in his own head, because look, he had a good preseason, right? He scored a couple of goals, but he hasn't played a competitive game for Tottenham in over 18 months. And there are rumours, like you said, Philip, he's denied them, but suggesting that he's unhappy that Ange had, lied to him over game time over the last 2 games and wants to leave. Look, I think Ange will pick him if Maddison is out, but is he the right man to be brought in, or do you envision maybe someone else?
Well, I was very disappointed yesterday to read that Alfie Devine's been loaned out to Port Vale, the Division 1 team. I thought Alfie Devine should have been kept, and he should have been pressing Lo Celso for that place today. But now that he's gone, I think, Lo Celso's the obvious man to come in and do it. Okay, I know you could bring in Perisic maybe, but I think Lo Celso, he wants to prove himself at Tottenham. This is his chance to do it. And he's had few and far between chances in the last 8 months, as you say. So we'll bring him in. Now, let's see what he can do. Like some of us, he's like a new signing for a lot of us. We haven't seen him. We've barely seen him. So let's see what he can do today if needs be. But he'd be my choice anyway.
And you, Paul?
Yeah, same as Phil. Let's get him on the pitch, see where his head's at, see if he wants to play for the badge or not. That's the only way to find out. I don't know about these rumours about him being unhappy. There's so many rumours going around about everything these days. The papers have got to sell headlines, but Ange, from what I've seen, Ange has been pretty positive about Lo Celso. I saw one rumour a while ago that Ange didn't want him to leave Spurs. So, who knows? But yeah, I like to see what he's got, And I think like an on-form Lo Celso is a better option than an on-form Skip or a Højbjerg, because they tend to break up the continuity of that midfield. We want to keep that midfield kind of close to the way it was operating last week, because it was absolutely dynamic.
For sure. Evan McCabe says, are the guests really quiet, or is that just me? And I can hear them perfectly fine. I presume if anyone else was having trouble hearing them, they would have definitely let me know by now, my man. But big yourself up, brother. Big yourself up. Maybe it could be you. I'm not saying it is, but maybe it could be. Ribsy says, Port Vale FC gave Divine number 11. He should tear League One apart, that kid. I think he could have got a championship move or one across Europe personally. Kuva 99 says, big up everyone. 4-2 win today. We've been starved of proper football for years, so I'm joining the hell out of this season. No matter what, I'm 100% paid up for the Ange delusional train. Woo, woo. Well, look, my man, it's actually choo-choo. Kuva, welcome to the delirious train. It's nice to finally get you on board, my man. And look, I think it's nice, to see everyone sort of sitting back and ready for the roller coaster, ready to enjoy the football. It's got off to a lot of a better start than what I think any one of us could have really imagined. And look, long may it continue, because this is only the start of it. Imagine how good it's going to be, in 6 months' time, Kuva. It's going to be absolutely unbelievable. Big yourself up, my man, and hopefully you're keeping well and pumped for today's game. Make sure you put that cherry tart out of the oven.
I've been really happy to see Kuva back in the saddle again, because he's a similar vintage to me, and we might well have been standing 20 feet apart, because we were going at the same games on the shelf back in the 80s. And I saw he was so disillusioned with Spurs that he got to the point he'd rather watch movies, and I totally got that. And the change in him, he's so excited. He's absolutely 100% in, and it's just brilliant to see, what they call legacy fans are back in the fold supporting the boys, and the manager.
Oh, I absolutely love it. Evan McCabe has got it sorted. He said he had the sound on 10, not 30 as usual. Big yourself up. But no, it is great to see Kuva absolutely all over it, ready and pumped for the football now. He's like a kid at Christmas, So big up, Kuva. Let's go and get the win. And for me, I've always stated, and Kuva knows this, I think the saddest thing is that the club are driving a lot of legacy fans away in their droves. And I thought that was very, very sad to see. But it's great to see everyone sort of coming back again and excited about the football. Look, Paul, we'll keep this moving. Pape Matar Sarr started over Skip last weekend and scored his first goal for Tottenham versus Man United last Saturday. Does he deserve to keep his place in the starting 11 today? Or do you think he will?
Oh, yeah. I hope. Yeah. Well, unless Ange is just experimenting with the team. I mean, he was incredible last week. Like the way he bundled Mason Mount over, like, you know, I mean, who's the boss here? I mean, it wasn't just him on the ball; it was off the ball. But you know, he was like a point of defence for us as well. You know, the Man United players coming down the wing, and Pape Matar Sarr just come flying in with a perfectly sweet time tackle. He was just perfect last week. So I really want to see more of him. And I love the way he smacked the shit out of the corner flag when he scored as well.
Yeah. Did you see a picture of Mason Mount on the bench after he was substituted? His eyes were dead. He'd just been Sarred out of it. He was just like, where the hell did that guy come from? You know?
Yeah. For me, I think it's one of the most important positions on the field. Look, Ollie Skip played against Bournemouth last year, and he was absolutely atrocious. I remember going mad about him down at their place. He couldn't cross a ball, couldn't pass a ball, and you know, in that game, especially in the second half, we had a lot of possession, and he couldn't do anything with it. So for me, no point of bringing him back in today. We already know he's not good enough on the ball, and we expect Bournemouth to sit back for large periods of this game because of how good we are. You know, there's no use to having him. And plus, I'd also argue, what defensive cover did he give when he did play? That's what he's supposed to be very, very good at. And for me, Sarr is streets ahead, and we want to win this game, especially if Maddison is out. You've got to have someone like Pape Matar Sarr in this team. And for me, I hope he gets a run in this team because I think he's been very unlucky. Anyone that knows me knows I've been on this guy and preaching about him, telling people how good he is for quite some time now. And, you know, he's had a couple of chances under Conte, but never really got any chances really to follow up that. So for me, hopefully now he does get this opportunity under Ange Postecoglou, gets a run in the team and really has a chance to shine and show the world how good he is. And for me, it's just another example of Dom Paratici cooking. Absolutely love it. So get your orders in. Get your orders in. Let me know what you want next. But absolutely love it. Look, guys, we'll move on to talking about the forward line now. 2 quick questions for you, and we'll get your score predictions, and then we'll let you all off. 180 minutes, no goals for a front three. That's only 2 games, by the way. I know it's not enough time to cause panic just yet, but where's it gone wrong for the front three so far, or have they just been unlucky?
I don't know. Again, I'm going to hark back to the Shakhtar Donetsk friendly with Harry Kane scored the 4 goals in that. Sonny was trying so hard, but he was just that little bit off his game. He was half a yard off. He just wasn't getting it. Kulusevski had a great game. And I thought, here we go. He didn't carry that into the Bournemouth, into the Brentford game. A bit better against United. I think it's just a matter of the 3 boys getting used to each other. I mean, they haven't been used to having Richarlison up front there. It's been Harry Kane's been the target man up to now. And we've relied on him so much. He's gone now, so they've got to adjust. What I can see happening today, though, I mean, Kulusevski has got Solomon breathing down his neck. So he's got to perform. He's got to keep the performances up, or else Solomon will come in and can do an equally good, if not better, job. So I think it'll come. It'll happen. And I think the catalyst of the whole thing will be for Richie to get off the mark. I think once he gets off the mark, the confidence will come back. The other players will be able to will feel more confident giving him the ball and creating the chances for him. So I think it will come. But I think what it's good to see is the goals are coming from other parts of the pitch. As you said earlier, Paul, Celtic scored, 100 and something goals last season, and a quarter of them came from their main striker. So the other 3 quarters came from the rest of the team. That's what I would love to see against Tottenham, for Tottenham, that everybody on the team is contributing at least 1 or 2 goals. And the midfielders, Maddison should be getting double figures. So we're going to miss Harry Kane, but we won't necessarily miss him because the goals are going to be spread out elsewhere. And
that's what Kuva says here. I worry about the front three if we're not scoring goals, but 2 goals in each match is pretty decent. I mean, Paul, how sustainable is it though? Not having any of your front three chipping in with goals.
I think it's a matter of time as well, and Phil's right. We like last year, we were dependent on the first 3 because they would be the only 3 players in that half of the pitch a lot of the time. But like last week. And I thought Son had a decent game last week, and I thought Kulu was a lot better. Not at his best, but he did set up the goal for Sarr, even though, because he bounced off a player, he doesn't get the assist or whatever the statisticians call it. So he was good enough to lead to a goal. I think it will come. I think it will come. They're also being pretty good at keeping, the other team's back line under pressure when they're in possession of the ball. So it's not all about just scoring the ball; it's about getting it back from them as well. And I think they've been doing a pretty good job of that. I think, like Phil says, they'll get used to each other, and I think they'll come good.
Yeah. Look, I think the wingers will come good. I'm just not. I hope Richie comes good. I just don't believe he's going to get the goals we need. But look, and then of course that will have a knock-on effect to the wingers with maybe chances they're laying on for him. He's not taking them, etc. It brings down their assists, etc., etc. But look, it's 2 games in, plenty of times to iron out the problems. So for me, I'm not pulling a panic alarm yet. I think Son has looked better against United than he did against Brentford. I think Kulu the same. Just my only concern, which I always had, and that's why I sort of said, we should have tried to keep Harry Kane and not sell him, is because I didn't believe Richie would make up the goals. But look, we still got time to iron that one out. Hopefully he can bag a couple a day, start proving people wrong, and go on and have a good season. Fans Rafar 3-1 Spurs says, fans reminded to back Ange irrespective of results, 100%. We've got to stick behind this guy. What I don't want to see is the first sign of trouble or the first sign of maybe something that, a problem that we need to iron out is where people turn their back on the guy, start questioning him, start calling for his head. Because as much as we blame, a lot of what's gone on the club for the past few years, which mainly rightly so, fans are very, very quick to call for Andrew's head as well. So on this one, for me, we need to give this guy time. He's absolutely saucing out at the minute. There will be a period where it'll be a bit rocky. You just got to stick with it. And Moondog says, my son Charlie says 3-1 to us today, Dave. Well, first of all, big up, Charlie. Hopefully you're keeping well. Hopefully you're enjoying your breakfast. And hopefully you're enjoying handball, my man. It's a privilege to watch this sort of football. So sit back, relax, and enjoy it. And hopefully it is 3-1 today. Look, I'd rather a 3-0, Charlie. I want a clean sheet. That'd be nice, my man. But big up, Charlie and Moondog. Hopefully you are enjoying your morning. But give me a big come on, you Spurs at home. A big infectious one. Absolutely love it. And then, look, we'll talk a little bit about Richie here. And then we will find out your score predictions, where people can find you. And we will call it a morning. So, look, we'll go to you on this one. Philip Richarlison is still looking for some confidence. Are you losing faith that he will come good? Or is there anything that Richarlison could be doing better or differently? Or could his teammates be giving him better service? What do you think the problem is?
He's struggling for confidence is probably the biggest problem at the minute. You saw how frustrated he was when he came off against United there. Like, he wasn't giving out about being substituted. He was giving out about his own performance. And I think, as I was saying, I think all it's going to take is a goal or two to get him started. Like, he was unlucky last season. He had a few goals ruled out by VAR, which were marginal decisions, but they always went against him. He gets a couple of goals, he's up and running, and he's also got in the back of his mind, chances are we probably will be bringing in a competition striker for him over the next few days. Hopefully we do, because we cannot rely on just having him up there. Dane Scarlett, I don't think is a done deal yet. So Richie needs competition to keep him keen. But I think the actual answer that Richie's problem is put the ball in the back of the net, and then they will come. Not as frequently as Harry Kane, which would be too much of an ask for anybody. But as I said, if he can spread the goal, if he can start getting his fair share of goals and showing that the midfielders making runs that they know where to pick him out, they get used to what his runs are. I think he'll be okay. But I would be worried though if we go past next Thursday with no striker coming in to put a bit of pressure on him, and that's my biggest worry, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think he does need that, that bit of competition. But look, Philip, I know you have a camper van to go and get serviced and get ready for tomorrow. So look, give us your score prediction and where can people find you, and we'll let you go and get that serviced.
I'm gonna say 2-1 the Spurs, tight game, but we're gonna get it. And I'm hoping Richie gets one of those goals, But I think the other goal is going to come from the midfield. And just on our midfield, can you imagine when we get Bentancur back, what that midfield is going to be like? It's mouth-watering, isn't it? I'm hopefully back for a watch along with Dermot on THFC till I die at 12:30, and then tonight we're doing an unusual podcast. We're going to talk about the ownership of clubs in the Premiership since 1992. There's not only 2 English-owned clubs at the minute, and we're one of them. and what's happened to football since 1992, and also talking about the Saudi League, how big a threat is it to European football if they get into the competition? So that'll be 9 o'clock tonight. So, but in the meantime, 12:30 watching the Spurs, and come on, we got to win this one.
Absolutely love it. Come on, you Spurs. Everyone, you can find Philip over at THFC till I die. I've put the link in there. Simply click on it, get over there and subscribe to it. Philip, go and get that caravan ready, my man. Oh, no, sorry, not caravan, camper van. There's a difference, isn't there? One has what one do you have? Do you have the one that hitches to the back of the car, or do you have one that you drive?
It's an actual drivable one. Yeah, it's drivable. Yeah,
Awesome.
Yeah,
my dad's dream is to have one of them, So when you're finished with it, or you ever want to sell it, hit me up and give me a good price on it.
I'll pass it on to you. I'll lend the tip of the week, right?
But big up, Philip, my man. We'll speak to you again soon. Thank you very much for your time. See you, my man. Bye-bye. Oh, everyone, that's the incredible Philip, the one and only, off on his holidays tomorrow to Donegal. That guy's always away. He's got the dream. But Paul, Richarlison, where's it gone wrong for him so far, my man? And do you back the guy to come good?
Well, it's his first touch that's really letting him down. I don't know if he's just too stiff or jabby or, just rigid. Needs to maybe just soften up a little bit. Although, in the second half, just before he was taken off, that sort of 5 or 10 minute period, I thought he was actually playing a lot better. So I'm not totally disheartened with him. I still look at the 60 million quid price tag and I'm scratching my head a bit. But I saw I don't know if it was on one of your streams, David. There was a comment by someone who said that they played football at a higher level and they were a centre forward.
Brain.
Sorry?
Brain said it.
Oh, was it? Yeah, and missed a sitter, and it took them 4 games to actually get back into it. So, centre forward, it is a confidence thing, and hopefully we'll open Bournemouth up like a bar cherry ripe, and he'll get a chance tonight. And I think once he gets 1 or 2, I think hopefully he'll be fine. But not sure yet. I'm not sure.
Look, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. For me, I think we definitely need to bring someone in. I think we need to get ahead of the problem before it really becomes glaring and obvious. I warned people about centre-back last year, and it came back to haunt us. So hopefully we do look to, bring in someone else before the window closes. Cherry Wright. Yeah, by the way, are they any good or are they actually nice, lad?
You know what? They taste like victory, man. I'm just going to, so sweet, man. Beautiful.
That one Paul's got is a special one. It's double victory in there. So absolutely love it. But look, Paul, what's your score prediction today, my man? And where can people find you? Well,
my score prediction is 4-0. I think Richarlison's going to get 2. I hope he gets 2. Remember, one's going to come off the left foot, edge of the 6-yard box, just on the left-hand side. He's going to get 2. I think Son's going to get 1. And you know what? I reckon Udogie might get 1. So that's where my 4. And you can find me at Hotspur Hippie on my channel there. Do streams and videos and stuff like that. So, show us a bit of love if you feel like it. That'd be cool.
Not if you feel like it. You got to. You've got to show this guy some
love. It's a free world, man. It's a free world. I'm a Hotspur Hippie, man. I'm not Hotspur tyrant. So if you don't want to do it, don't. But, if you do, it's great.
Everyone, get over there. Check out Paul's channel. It's absolutely great. Check out his wild predictions or some of the predictions that maybe he called and he's got right. Check them out. Some great content up there.
I'll give you another one. I'll give you another one I got right because I'm hearing this a lot these days. The Ange Postecoglou choo-choo. And I'm pretty sure I was saying that back in February, man. Everybody should get on board the Ange Postecoglou choo-choo. Yeah. Woo-hoo! Destination glory.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. But look, so everyone, please get over and check out Paul's channel. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. He's absolutely a brilliant guest. He does a lot over here. So, and he's entertained a lot of you over here. So make sure you get over there and show that love and appreciation back. Look, for me, I'm going to go. I was saying 2-0 all week, but do you know what? I'm going to stick with 2-0. I think early kickoffs, I think a lot of them usually sort of flatter to deceive anyway, but I do think we'll have more than enough to be able to beat Bournemouth today. I think it's going to be a different game. I think we're going to pen them in for large periods, and it's just about us taking some of the chances we create. Funny enough, I actually think, was I saying it to Jack or I said it to someone this week? Maybe it was Alan from Time Added On, where I actually think Edozie, I got visions of him sneaking in at the back post, getting one today. So I think we're on the same boat with that, Paul, with Edozie scoring today. And
Brilliant.
guys, just quickly, you know, the under-21s winning again last night, 2-0 away at Derby County. I mean, they're just keeping this phenomenal start to the season going. Alfie Dorrington was superb last night. Go and watch highlights of his performance yesterday. Running out from the back with the ball, you know, spraying 60-yard passes. Absolutely unbelievable. And they are in a hot run of form right now. Long may it continue, and hopefully the senior team can follow suit today. But that's it from myself and Paul. We're going over to We Are Tottenham TV now. Make sure you follow us over there. Please, everybody, come back. Hopefully you can enjoy the watch along in the game with us today. We'll be back here at 12 today. For now, see you over on We Are Tottenham TV. Come on, you Spurs.
Spurs.
The big Ange we trust. We never stop.
See it, man.
Oh, and lastly, a massive thank you to all you guys out there for tuning in. And everyone, my bad. All you guys for out there tuning in. And also Ricardo, Wayne Bonner, Phil Coyce, Jim, Moondog, Dark Sun G, Adrian Chia, Fazzy Radfire as well. Every single here at 12 o'clock today. Come on, you Spurs.
Everywhere we go.